Hello and welcome back to another Transformers review. Today we're taking a look at the Siege Deluxe Class Sixgun. Sixgun being a weaponizer. Originally the character didn't have a vehicle mode, however this figure does, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, let's start off by going over the articulation of the robot mode. Well, let's get a look at that head sculpt. Quite nice, in my opinion. I like the red head with the white faceplate, and the blue is a very nice shade that is painted on. A bit of a Autobot equivalent to Soundwave's head, honestly. Anyway, the head is on a rotation, not a ball joint, which makes more sense once we get into the other modes and gimmicks of the figure, but most deluxes are ball jointed at the head. The shoulders are on a hinge up, about that far out, as well as a rotation joint here. However, it's on sort of a faux ratchet, so you only really get certain locking points. The shoulder, honestly, is probably the most disappointing piece of articulation on the figure. The arm has a rotation above the elbow and can get 90 degrees at the elbow. No rotation at the hand. In fact, you can see it's just painted. It's the same piece. Moving on to the waist, and it can do a full 360, however it starts banging up against these tabs in the back, so you really only get about that much. There's a swivel at the thigh, a 90-degree bend at the knees, a ridiculous ankle pivot, though it does kind of show how hollow the piece is, and you get a ridiculous toe bend up as well as a slight downwards bend. So aside from the slightly limited shoulders, and I do kind of wish they were on ball joints, but sacrifices had to be made for the alt mode. Now, getting into the transformation, and this is where you start pulling pieces off of him. You take these smaller guns, missiles, whatever, the cones off of these, barrels on the back, and you're going to want to fold all of those down for now to get it out of the way. You're going to want to fold up this panel. You're going to want to turn the head around first, and get it up, and the crest on the forehead focus fits into the cutout here rather nicely. I should point out there is actually a 3mm peg hole. Sorry, not a 3. A standard peg hole on the chest. Anyway, you just fold that all up, and you rip off the arms. Parts forming. It makes sense for this guy. And you're going to want to pull off this whole top piece. And now that you have these parts taken apart like this, you're going to want to reattach it into the hole on the back instead of the one on the chest originally. And this just sits like that. Then you're going to want, then if you want to have this 3mm port exposed so that you can attach this onto a stand, since it is a flying vehicle, You're going to want to rotate the waist around so that it's facing towards the bottom. Then you remove the legs off of the pegs. And you're going to want to put these tabs into the slot in the front of the thigh. Just line these up. And you're going to want to just collapse the toes down. Then you're going to want to take the arms, and you're going to want to put them on the opposite sides, pegged into these holes. Then you're going to want to take these and peg them into the tops of the shoulders. And there he is in his vehicle mode. Let's fix the lighting there. That's better. Now you can actually see the details. And I mean, considering this figure, the original Sixgun toy didn't have a vehicle mode at all. So I mean, they did a pretty good job of incorporating one. It almost looks like a vehicle. I mean, there's this massive block down underneath, but you know, as long as you ignore that, it's fine. Now, having disassembled them again, before we get into the gimmick of the weaponizers, I wanted to show off that it, like all the other figures in the Siege line, Sixgun does have a bunch of these ports all over the figure, including one on each side here, one on this back flap for some reason. It's kind of odd considering it's folded down in robot mode and you already have two other ones here in vehicle mode, but that one there, and the one up here on this panel, and then one down here on the nose. Sure, you could probably figure out something to do with that one, but there's none on the main torso piece. There's none on the legs. And obviously this, actually, these are compatible, both on this end and on this end. These rifles are kind of compatible, kind of. If this had been another like millimeter longer, it would fit perfectly fine. As it is, you can kind of wedge it on there, but it doesn't really want to stay. But anyway, no more digressing. Let's get into the main gimmick of the weaponizers, specifically Sixgun, in that he is 6 guns. Well, technically 8 if you separate these off, but don't worry about it. Now, anyway, the compatibility of all of the different ports means that there's more variations to combinations with this figure than I can show in this review and keep it at a decent length. But just to show off the main weapons, I will bring in Siege Voyager Optimus Prime just to show off how you can armor up another figure. Let's move the camera, give me a moment. Alright, and we're back with a much better camera angle, and you get the legs. Now, you don't have to put these in, they have barrel detailing inside of the ends anyway, but I don't really know where I should put these. Maybe here for now, I guess. That's fine. These can either be get the peg to go in, just hand cannons, or plug into the arms, either with this peg, or you can fold that peg away and use the peg that's on the side of the leg to mount them on like so. Or they can, in Prime's case, be plugged onto the back. Kind of. There we go. As an additional jetpack, which looks okay. And I'll leave them there for now anyway. Then you get the arms as 2 more matching guns, which can also be plugged into the hands as guns, or onto the arms, or onto the legs. However you really want, really. Or with the Siege figures, you can also plug these up underneath the feet. And probably not the best for these ones because of the shaping, but sorry, I realize I'm cutting a lot of this, but you don't need to see me taking parts off over and over again. But you can take these ones, and personally I prefer to plug it into the rear one. If there was one in the center, it would probably look better, but whatever. And it doesn't look great on Optimus, to be honest. I'd almost recommend flipping them around this way. I mean, that looks a little bit better, but even then, not amazing. Let's put these onto the legs as thrusters, actually, rather than on the backpack. And then we'll take these and attach them on up here as wings. It's one of the great things about the addition of a vehicle mode to this figure is now you can use the parts as things other than just weapons. Now, as for the main chest area, you can just fold these sides down. Let's take these off, actually. Put them on back here, I guess. Actually, no. No, let's attach these on back here. And let's just plug that into the fist. And let's fold this piece down over the hand. And now you have a missile battery. Now this is kind of the part they just kind of said we needed a majority of mass for the torso. And, well, they got it. It's just kind of a block with some barrels stuck to it. And, I mean, it's definitely the weakest link out of it. But, there we have Optimus all decked out in Sixgun's Weaponizer mode. Anyway, getting Sixgun back into robot mode. Here we have my standard size comparison. And around average height for Deluxe, maybe slightly short. In conclusion, Sixgun is a very solid Deluxe. Not only does he look really cool, in my opinion, the Weaponizer gimmick is quite fun and adds a lot of value to any other figures you get. Now, the articulation in the arms is a little bit more limited than I would have liked, but given the gimmick of the arms turning into guns, I guess I can excuse it. definite recommendation on this one. But anyway, that's it for this review. Make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And subscribe for future reviews, as well as watch my backlog. And most importantly, share this video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, until next time, happy building.